A relentless curse is hunting Rose, taking lives one by one. This movie is different from all the others you've seen. Keep watching to the end to uncover the dark secret behind it and see if Rose can survive. Today's movie is Smile. This is the story of Rose, the psychotherapist. One day, something happened to her that made her turn into a psycho herself. When she was 9 years old, her mother passed away due to addiction problems. The disturbing scenes from her childhood still haunt her as nightmarish visions. One day, an emergency case arrived at her office. It was a 26-year-old university student who had been behaving erratically and was brought straight to the psychiatric hospital by the police. Upon reading the girl's profile, Rose discovered that there was no record of any mental illness, but something shocking had happened to her the previous week. A professor at her college had hit her with a hammer. After thoroughly investigating the incident, Rose met with the girl, whose name was Laura. Laura was huddled in a corner, terrified. Rose tried to relax her and began asking normal questions, like what day it was and what month it was. Laura answered all the questions correctly and began explaining to Rose that she wasn't crazy. Recently, she had been seeing a strange entity that would take on various forms and appear before her. Its smile was terrifying. Suddenly, Laura saw the entity again, causing her to panic and run outside. Rose immediately called for the ward boys, and when she turned around, she was shocked to see Laura smiling and then cutting her own throat in front of her, killing herself. Shortly after this incident, the police came to take Rose's statement. After recounting everything that had happened with Laura, she left for home. The day had been nothing short of a curse for her. To clear her mind, she had a drink. However, she noticed Laura's smiling face in the corner. Her fiancé Trevor arrived, and in his fear, he accidentally dropped the glass he was holding. Seeing Rose distressed, Trevor guessed that something must have happened to her. Rose then told him about the entire day's events. They went out for dinner, where we also see Rose's older sister, Holly, and her husband, Greg. Holly had invited them for dinner as she was looking to sell their mother's house to make some money. Rose refused, saying that her childhood memories were tied to that house and she couldn't even think of selling it. After returning home, Rose fed her cat and went to bed. The next day, a police officer from the college days came to see her again. This officer had been obsessed with Rose since college, but she had never shown any interest. Now that she was engaged, she had asked him to stop pursuing her. The officer had been harassing her, so Rose tried to escape his harassment and started investigating Laura's case. Laura had testified that she had seen her professor kill himself with a hammer, all the while wearing a strange smile. 2 days later was her nephew's birthday. While talking, Rose noticed Laura standing at a distance, staring at her intensely. Rose ignored her and went to meet her patient. However, she then saw another patient named Cal, smiling in a similar unsettling way. Rose wanted to talk to him, but felt like he was under the influence of some malevolent force. Suddenly, he began muttering that it was her turn next, and she would die. Terrified, Rose immediately shouted for the staff. It turned out Cal was just asleep, and what she had seen was merely her imagination. When Rose's boss learned about the incident, they sent her on a week-long vacation to recover from the recent event. Since she had no other pressing matters, she went out to buy a birthday gift for her nephew. She managed to get through the day, but at night she was plagued by fear. Suddenly, the home security alarm went off. It seemed someone was trying to break into the back door. Rose quickly turned off the alarm, after which she received a call from the security personnel. She told them that she was alone at home and someone was trying to break in. The security person ominously asked her if she really thought she was alone at home and told her to look behind her. When Rose looked back, she saw the phone on the table, realizing she had been hallucinating. It was all a figment of her imagination. Then the alarm rang again. Shortly after, the police arrived and searched the house thoroughly, but found no one inside. Meanwhile, Trevor had returned from the office. He had noticed Rose's increasing distress, but she had never shared what was troubling her. That night, their cat also went missing. Rose searched everywhere for her missing cat, but couldn't find her. Exhausted and defeated, she went to bed, but her nightmares kept her restless. Unable to sleep, she started listening to the recording of Laura's incident. Her entire focus was on that recording when suddenly she heard her mother screaming in her ears. Terrified, she screamed and grabbed a knife. Hearing her screams, Trevor rushed to her side. Seeing Rose with a knife made him panic. From a distance, he tried to reassure her that everything was okay. The next day, Rose visited a psychiatrist and explained everything that had been happening since Laura's death. After the session, the psychiatrist concluded that Rose was neither ill nor crazy. It was possible that Laura's spirit was haunting her. If Rose got adequate rest and engaged in activities she enjoyed, she would be perfectly fine. Rose accepted the psychiatrist's advice and dressed up for her nephew's birthday party. After the birthday celebration, Holly's son began opening the gifts. Everyone was shocked when he opened the gift from his aunt and found Rose's deceased cat inside. She tried to convince everyone that she hadn't done this. Her gaze then fell on a girl sitting in a chair who was smiling just like Laura. Seeing this, Rose began acting irrationally, claiming that the girl was responsible for everything. The girl appeared right in front of her, causing Rose to fall onto a glass table, getting shards embedded in her body. Holly immediately took her to the hospital. After treatment, Rose returned home with Trevor. With nothing left to hide, she told Trevor about seeing an entity that frightened her in different forms. She suspected this entity was connected to her last patient, Laura, who had also seen similar things. Trevor thought she had completely lost her mind. Who believes in ghosts and superstitions in today's world? He didn't believe her at all and went to bed, while Rose's rest was still troubled. Determined to find answers, Rose traced the address of Laura's professor and visited his home the next morning. The professor's wife revealed that his behavior had become strange before he died. He had started forgetting things, much like how Rose had forgotten to mention killing her cat and putting it in the gift box. The professor's wife took Rose to the room where the professor had made drawings of the visions he saw. Rose asked when these strange occurrences had started with the professor. The wife explained that it began after the professor had seen a girl killing herself during a seance. Rose quickly went to meet Joel, questioning why he was there when he had previously refused to see her. Rose explained that she needed details about a case. About 9 days ago, a professor named Gabriel had committed suicide. Although he didn't want to, Joel had liked Rose, so he couldn't refuse. Upon investigation, it was found that Gabriel was linked to the death of a girl who had brutally ended her own life. Despite knowing this, Rose persisted and wanted to learn more about the girl. She discovered that the girl had also seen a man committing suicide 4 days before her death, and this was captured on CCTV. When Rose reviewed the footage, she saw that the man had been smiling like a devil before killing himself. Rose didn't understand who these people were or why they were dying so brutally. Without explaining anything further, she left and went straight to her sister's house. Greg was planning to confront her from outside, but Holly heard her sister's voice and came out. Rose explained that she was in great trouble and that whatever was happening to her was a curse or some sort of spell she had accidentally encountered through her patient Laura. Holly refused to believe her, thinking that Rose was just under stress, like their mother had been. Without support from her sister, Rose returned to her car, unsure of whom to turn to for help, when her own family didn't understand her pain. As Rose was trying to figure out what to do next, Holly returned and began knocking on the window. When Rose turned around, she was terrified, and her condition worsened. In the evening, she received a call from Joel. After Rose had left without explaining, Joel had started investigating the cases she mentioned. He found 20 cases where 19 people had ended their own lives. Among all of them, there was one common pattern. A person ends their own life, and then a witness to this also ends their life 4 days later. Then Rose asked who was the one among the 20 who broke the pattern and survived. His name was Rob Daly. One evening, his business partner committed suicide in front of him. 4 days later, Rob Daly killed an unknown woman and then disappeared. The pattern restarted a week later when he ended his own life in front of another person. The next morning, Rose and Joel went to the jail. On the way, Rose explained everything that had happened to her and her patients. Although Joel didn't believe in ghosts or curses, he made a promise to Rose that he wouldn't let her die like the others. In fact, none of the 19 people had lived for more than a week. Today was also Rose's 4th day. By the next morning, they reached Altoona jail, but Rob Daly was not ready to reveal anything. Rose requested that with his help, her patient's life could be saved. After much pleading, he agreed to talk to her alone. He said that when he received the curse from his business partner, he had investigated it from several sources. He mentioned that one person had survived by killing his neighbor and passing it on to his wife. To break the curse, Rose would have to kill someone, but there should be a witness to maintain the pattern. Rose screamed that she couldn't kill anyone. When Rob learned that the curse was actually on Rose, he was relieved, and he immediately had to leave the jail. When asked what had transpired between them, Rose concealed the part about killing for freedom. Afterward, they both went back to their homes. Shortly after, Rose received a message from her doctor, who was coming to visit her home. Rose was internally tempted to kill her doctor to escape the curse. However, a witness was also necessary. When the doctor arrived and started the conversation, A phone call came on the landline. Rose answered the call and spoke. On the phone was the same doctor who was sitting in front of her. Seeing her dangerous smile, Rose was shocked. She realized it was all in her imagination. She was so desperate to break the curse that she rushed to her hospital with a knife. When Cal saw her, he began to tremble. Then her boss arrived, and there was a witness and a victim. Seeing this, Rose stabbed Cal in the heart. Her boss's light went out upon witnessing the brutality. The bus then extinguished Rose's light, revealing that it was also her imagination. She was still sitting in the car when suddenly the bus arrived. They advised her to go inside and talk, but Rose refused, muttering that there was danger and she wanted to stay alone. She thought that if she stayed alone and there were no witnesses, the curse would stop on its own. When her boss saw the knife, he tried to stop her, but she fled with the knife. After some time, she received a call from Joel, who was worried because all the city police had been warned about the danger from Rose. During their conversation, Rose shared her idea with Joel that she would stay alone from now on so that the curse wouldn't spread. She ended the call without revealing where she was going. After hours of traveling, she reached her old house where she had spent her childhood and where her mother had died. Although it wasn't habitable, Rose cleaned it up to make it livable. At night, she lit a lantern and was passing time when she heard someone knocking on the door. When Rose opened it, she saw her mom sitting in her room, crying. Her mother began apologizing, saying she had ruined Rose's life and Holly's childhood due to her addiction. She had beaten them, causing Holly to leave home at 16. One day, Rose's mother had succumbed to an overdose. She asked Rose for help and to call an ambulance, but Rose had shut the door, leading to her mother's death. Because of this, her mother blamed Rose for her death. Rose was only 10 at that time and terrified of her mother. Maybe that's why she fled the room in fear. She still regretted it. Suddenly, her mother began smiling like a devil. Rose should have locked her in the room again, but this time she couldn't. Her mother had transformed into a demon, her body so elongated that her head easily touched the ceiling. Rose had no one to save her. She ran from one room to another, and the demon attacked her, grabbing her. Rose fought back with all her strength, breaking the demon's hand and fleeing the house, hitting the lantern on the demon's head. Her house burned down in moments. With no other option but to return to the city, she went back to Joel. It was revealed that Rose had once been Joel's girlfriend. She had met with the driver and then gradually distanced herself from Joel. Although Joel never wanted to leave her, Rose apologized for everything. Joel then started smiling. The lights dimmed slowly. Joel chased Rose, discovering that she was still at her old house, which remained unchanged. Joel arrived, and Rose ran into the house, locking the door from the inside. Her mother, now in a demonic form, emerged from her room. Rose screamed and cried, unable to figure out how to escape this haunting. Meanwhile, Joel continuously tried to break the door. The demon, with its gaping jaws, terrified Rose so much that she lost consciousness. The next moment, the demon tore open her mouth and began to enter her body. By then, Joel had broken through the door and saw Rose pouring oil over herself. When she turned around, her devilish smile left Joel stunned. Rose, smiling, set herself on fire, and the movie ends. Subscribe to our channel for upcoming film. Until then, check out this horror movie Blood Train by clicking here and Exuma by clicking here.